How is it going, guys? So at the beginning of the year, we installed the Bride Stradia III seats in the GR86. Still one of my favorite modifications that I've done to the car. If you guys haven't seen that video yet, or you don't know about them, here's a quick refresher. I absolutely love the seats. They look amazing, they're super comfortable, but there's a little bit of an issue when you install aftermarket seats in this car. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about. So now with the seats installed, every time I get in and drive the car, let me start it here for you. We get this annoying airbag light on the bottom right-hand side and the notification on the left side of the gauge cluster, which covers up that whole side there where the temperatures would be. Now if I hit the back button to close that, in a few seconds it's just going to show up again, so you really can't get rid of it. It's just going to keep coming back, which is super annoying. And obviously you want to be able to see those temps, especially if you're tracking the car. So we need to figure out a way to get rid of this Christmas tree of lights. Some of you guys may remember in the video where I picked up my WRX in California, I met up with my friend TK at Apex. Him and a friend of his, Richard, developed this solution made specifically for these seats. This is their occupancy sensor bracket, and this allows you to mount the sensors underneath the seat so you no longer get the lights on the dash. So what we need to do is get the OEM seat, take those sensors off, mount them on here, and then take this seat out and mount this bracket to the seat rails, and hopefully everything works as it should. We've got the stock passenger seat here. Here are the 4 occupancy sensors, 2 brown ones on this side and 2 blue ones on this side. I've already removed the harness for them a while back when I was trying to figure this all out. You do need to remove this so that you can plug them in later on. But what we're going to be doing is removing the seat rails, and then we can take these sensors off the rails. Since removing the seat rails, I need to disconnect this yellow harness off of this bracket so that it doesn't get caught here. So we'll just push the tabs in on the back of this and pop that out. And then for the connector here, you want to take either a small flathead screwdriver or a pick tool of some kind to get behind here and lift up the tab so you can pull it straight up. There we go. Just set this down here for now. There's going to be 4 16mm nuts holding the seat rails to the seat there right on top of each of the seat sensors. So you're going to need a 16mm wrench. I'd recommend one with a flex head to make it easier to access some of these. You also want to be really careful when you're doing this not to damage the sensors themselves, because I don't believe you can actually buy them individually. So if you mess one up, you may have to buy the whole shebang, which I doubt is cheap. So take your time, be careful. Also wear gloves because there's a lot of sharp metal things in here that can cut your hands up. The back ones are the ones that are a little bit difficult to get to. Leave this one loosely on there, and we'll move on to the other side. I've got the 2 nuts in the front of the seat fully removed and the ones in the back broken loose. I'm going to remove the one on the outermost side first, so the ones with the brown sensors here, and the seat rails are gonna kind of want to pop out. There is a spring here that has this portion spring loaded, so just be cognizant of that. So we'll slowly release this and pull it out to the side. Make sure you don't lose the spring here. And this can also slide out, and we'll set this aside as well. For the rail that's still left here, there's actually a cable that's connected to the top of it here that we'll need to remove. So let me get the last nut off and give you a closer look. So you can see right here, there's a cable that goes into the top of the seat rail. There's this little tab right here that we'll need to lift up again with a pick tool or a small flathead screwdriver, and then that'll allow you to move the cable up, and there's a slot right here to slide it out of this tab. Hopefully you can see this tab right here. I'm gonna just stick this pick tool in there, and then I'm gonna try and pull it out without stabbing my finger. Okay, so I've lifted it enough to get it out of this recess, and that allows me to push it back, and then I'll pull it up and out of that slot. The seat rails are off, so we can see that there are two 12mm nuts holding each of these sensors in place, so we'll zap those off, and then we can install these sensors on our new bracket. To install the sensors onto our new bracket, it's really straightforward. We have the included Allen head bolts. I've got our seats unbolted, so we'll carefully remove this from the car. We've got a bit of a problem, guys. Seats out, brackets ready to go, but I overlooked a small yet important detail. So TK's seat is a fixed back bucket seat, whereas mine is a reclinable bucket seat. And the seat rails, even though they're the same brand, are slightly different. His are a little bit wider, so the holes on this bracket don't line up perfectly with the holes on my seat rails. Of course they don't. I'm running out of time tonight, but what I'll eventually end up doing is measuring out the holes on the seat rails and modifying the bracket to make it fit. But for the sake of this video, we're just gonna bring both of these back over to the car, get everything plugged in. There's two other things that we need to do to make sure everything is working properly, and then we'll start the car and see if the lights are still on the dash. I've got the seat roughly back in the car. It's not bolted in yet because I'm probably gonna have to end up just taking this back out. But the other thing we need to do is install some 3.3 ohm 1 watt resistors into the airbag plug. If you don't do this, even if you plug in all the sensors, it's still going to pop up that airbag light. So what you do is take one of these resistors. I'll leave a link to these down in the description. So I've kind of bent it into position here where the two prongs are right next to each other so that it'll fit into the holes on this connector. And I'll just slide these all the way in there. And then what I'd recommend doing is taping this up with some electrical tape so nothing messes around with this and it doesn't fall out. So we'll leave that there for now. I'm not gonna tape it up just yet. I'm gonna plug in the harness for the sensors into the other plug here. And now I need to plug the seat belt harness into this yellow plug, and then we'll get this bracket ready into a spot where I can plug in all the sensors. And we need to also install a resistor on the driver's side as well, and then we can start up the car. Okay, so I've got everything plugged in on the passenger side. All the sensors are plugged in. The seat belt is plugged into the OEM harness. And we've got the 3.3 ohm resistor in the airbag plug. I'm gonna do the same thing on the driver's side and we can hop in and start it. All right, we've got the yellow airbag plug here. Again, 3.3 ohm 1 watt resistor with the bent pins. We'll just push that all the way in and then I'll tape this up later. But that should be everything we need so that the light doesn't come on when we go to start this. Let's see if that's the case. All right, let's hop in, start this thing. Fingers crossed. Turn off. Hey, look at that! No warning lights for the airbags. I think we did it, guys. Ignore the TPMS light. All right, let's talk about this real quick. Essentially what we're doing is taking the sensors off of the stock seats and mounting them to the new seats and installing some resistors in those airbag plugs just like we would on the first gen. Now I can only recommend this, safely recommend this, on a track car that has harnesses and you're wearing a Hans device, because technically those sensors are not active. There's no pressure or weight on them, so the airbag isn't going to turn on when you have a passenger in the seat. So install this at your own discretion. Now, I was going to just scrap this video because the brackets didn't fit right, but I figured there was some good information to be shared with how to remove the sensors and how to install the resistors. Hopefully you guys are okay with it not being a super clean install. I do want to give a huge shout out to TK and Richard for working with me on this. I'm going to give them the measurements of my seat so that they can make adjustments to the bracket. But you may also see that the title of this video says part 1, and that's because there's actually another product that is being developed that's going to be more friendly for the street cars, and it should allow the airbag to work properly if you happen to have a person in the passenger seat. So once that comes in and that's all ready to go, you will see a part 2, but that is going to do it for tonight, guys. Let me know what else you guys would like to see. If you're enjoying the content, hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.